Okay, amazing. So yeah, we all set. Hello everyone, I'm Leo and I'm happy to give this session today together with Janna. For everyone who doesn't know me yet, I'm a junior fellow from FSU, batch of 2014. And yeah, last year in fall, I developed along with my team a refugee project, and we called this one Meeting Refugees Halfway. And yeah, today we want to give you a few insights on this project, on things we learned, things we took away from it. And yeah, Janna will take over from now, and then I will join in later again. Enjoy.
We can't hear anything. It's really hard to hear you, Janna. Um, can you maybe use the same microphone Leo just used?
I don't know what's going on. Is it better now?
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Okay. Okay, once again. Yeah, so last fall together with three other friends, we started a project Meeting Refugees Halfway. And yeah, today we want to present you about it, what we did there and why we started it. So at the beginning, I want to give you some facts about the current situation with refugees worldwide and especially in Europe. And after that, I will present you what we did and where we went. And after that, Leo will present you something about takeaways and what we learned and what we want to give to everybody else who maybe also wants to do some projects in the future. And in the end, we want to show you a bigger picture about Germany and how to make projects more efficient, in our opinion. Okay, so at first, some pictures. Oh, it doesn't work. We have a problem at the moment. Okay, no. So, as you may know, there is a very big stream of refugees at the moment in the last years, especially from the Arabic countries like Syria, Afghanistan, or Iraq towards Europe. Here on this picture, you can see a lot of refugees waiting near Budapest. They are walking on the so-called Balkan route. It's the normal route the refugees took in the last year, especially to come from their home countries towards Europe, and especially with the goal to reach Germany, Austria, or the countries in the middle of Europe. Yeah, and for example, Ban Ki-moon said that this situation, especially in the last year, is one of the biggest crises of refugees in our time. And it's not also only a crisis of numbers, it's also a crisis of solidarity. So there is a very big problem. So a lot of countries close their borders and say, we don't want to have any more refugees here. There are already too many and we are not able to welcome them anymore, and a lot of borders are closed. And there are very few legal ways left, or hardly legal ways left for refugees to come to Europe, to leave their home countries to find a safe place to stay. So for example, here on this picture, you can see a very small boat loaded with a lot of refugees. They try to cross the Mediterranean Sea with very small boats, and because there are no legal ways to come to Europe, they are victims of smugglers, and thousands of them have to risk their lives to find a safe place, and a lot of them died in the Mediterranean or had to suffer a lot on their way to Europe. So yeah, it's a very big challenge today to show welcome, to unify together, and to say we to save the human rights, and to say you are welcome here and you can find a safe place here. So in the whole world, there are millions of people who flee of war and conflicts, and yeah, to save their lives. There, yeah, in these numbers in 2015, you can see there were 65 million people who were displaced and had to flee their home countries, and it is a very, very strong growth compared to the last year. So in 1996, there were only 37 million people fleeing. So that's also a big number, but you can see it's much more now. And yeah, in the last year, in 2015, over 1 million people fled to Europe, and the most of them came from Syria, fleeing the war there, and thousands of people died in the central Mediterranean. And yeah, in the last year, it was a very big topic in the media and everywhere, and we thought, it's so horrible, we have to do something about this. We can't stand the situation anymore, we want to help, we want to do something. So we planned, what can we do, what exactly is possible for us, and we thought, we are some young students, we have some time left, we can do something. Sure, there are a lot of projects or initiatives already in Germany where we live, to help refugees who arrive in Germany to integrate and to find their new homes and to settle down. But the problem we saw was all the refugees who struggled to find their way to Europe, who were stuck at closed borders, who were who had to suffer a lot of the weather and a lack of food, or on their way to find some safe places, because the Balkan Trail, they also have to cross a lot of countries which are not very, which don't like it so much that refugees come, and they don't show them a good welcome. So we thought, if they are struggling to come to us, we want to go to them and meet them, and go to the Balkan route and try to help them there, where the help is needed the most, is to help them with their biggest needs. So yeah, we decided to go to the Balkan route and help there, and for that we found a NGO, the Inter-European Human Aid Association, and it was a very newly founded small initiative in September, and they were very up to date about the current situation everywhere, and they had a very good concept to help volunteers who wanted to help refugees, to help them where they can go, and to show them what they can do. And yeah, so yeah, they told us what we can do and what we should prepare. So we started a crowdfunding project to get some money that we can finance our travel to the Balkan route, and whether that was Better Place and Facebook, yeah, to get some money. And also, not only money, we also collected a lot of donations like clothes, blankets, sleeping bags, stuff they needed at the Balkan route there. And the last task was to organize a car, a small bus, to be able to bring all the stuff we collected to the Balkan route. Yeah, so we did it. In the end, we had a lot of donators and a lot of supporters who said they think we are doing a good job, and yeah, who supported us. And the biggest donation we got from the Melton Foundation with a big grant, and they helped us to realize our project. So in November, we could start to go there. Here you see our car filled with all we collected in Jena, a lot of clothes and warm stuff for the winter, medical and hygiene stuff, and yeah. I will show you some pictures of the project. What I forgot to tell you. So the IHA, the Inter-European Human Aid Association, sent us to Croatia to a transit camp where the refugees came from Serbia over the border to Croatia, and they had to register there and wait there for some hours. And then they were sent on with trains to the next country, to Slovenia. So they were stuck there for some hours, and while they were waiting there, we could go to the refugees and help them to bring them clothes and whatever they needed. So yeah, and on this camp, it was not allowed to take pictures because it was a military organized camp. So I will show you some pictures we secretly took, but please excuse us when the quality is not the best. So yeah, here you see the way we took through the Alps, and as you can see, it was very, very cold. There was a lot of snow, and yeah, already on the way we could feel it is very important that we come to help the refugees with warm clothes and whatever they needed. Here you can see a small part of the camp in the very big white tent behind. The refugees arrived and went there to register and to wait there. You can also see some tents of the Red Cross. They came there to give them a small portion to eat and to have some medical help if some help was needed. And on the right side, you can also see one of our team members with the sign of the IHA on the back. So there was our daily place to work. Here you can see the front of our storage. Here all the things we collected, all the donations, not only ours, but also of a lot of other people all around Europe. Yeah, all the donations were there in the storage, and you can see here in the middle there was a kind of a system we developed in the time we were there. So it was quite good organized, where you could find clothes or shoes, or also clothes for women, clothes for children, clothes for men, shoes in different sizes. So it was very important that we could work very quickly, because sometimes we had some differences that the police said we are not allowed anymore to go to the refugees, and we had to be very quick and fast to see what the refugees needed and to give them very fast. Yeah, so it was very important to have a very good organized storage. Here you can see on the left side Leo on the way to go to the tent where the refugees waited, with a big bag of things he brought them. And then on the right side you can see also another task we had. So some things were very, very hard, very much needed, like shoes for men, they were running out very fast because a lot of refugees only came with flip-flops, or they had to walk so far, long distances that their own shoes were totally broken, and it was freezing cold, and some of them were only barefoot. And yeah, at most we needed shoes or caps, some warm scarves and gloves. So after our long shift in the camp, often we went to stores and bought a big bunch of new clothes and things we needed the most. And there was what was very great, that we had collected a lot of money back in Germany that we could bring now to buy some new stuff. Yeah, and here you can see some small pictures of inside the camp. On the left side is a family drinking some hot tea, and you can see here they have new scarves and hats around their necks, and yeah, they get the donations there. And on the right side there is a family waiting in front of a refugee camp to enter there, and some of our volunteers. And here is still the last picture we want to show you. It is also in front of our storage, and here you can see our team members of our small team, but also of other volunteers who came all around of Europe. Yeah, and we worked together with them and had a very good time there.
Okay, we'll take over from now, talking about things we took away from the project, things we learned. First of all, thank you, Janna, for talking about the facts. And now to the takeaways. Well, the first one that came to our minds was when we reflected on the project, that events, no matter what you create, whether it's going to be a party or a project team, or whatever you're planning, these things always have their own dynamics. So maybe you've got an idea stuck in your head and you're developing it and creating something from it, but as soon as other people get involved, everything starts developing, and you don't have all the control over the things that are happening. So the best thing you can do is to plan as much as you can, especially with these kinds of projects, those action projects that really demand a lot of responsibility that you have to take. So the best thing you can do for your team and also the people you're trying to help is to minimize the risks, to be aware of whatever can happen. But yeah, you should still have in mind that things can go wrong also, and this takes us to the second takeaway. It says, expect the unexpected. So no matter how much you plan, even though you're minimizing risk, and if you are aware of things, other things can just intervene, can just happen that you have no chance of thinking about before the project. For example, before we left, maybe just 2 or 3 days, the IHA contacted us and asked me to take over a certain, like, a role of great responsibility that I wasn't in no way prepared to do. They asked me to be the coordinator of a lot of volunteers coming there, and I told them, well, if I should be doing this, or if there's no one else who is willing to do this, I will do it. But I'm telling you, I have no experience at all with this, so I cannot guarantee for anything that happens. And then they said, well, you're the only one who's there. So I just did it, and I did learn a lot, but it also put our team on a lot of stress. But yeah, if you're planning an action project in any way, be prepared to be expect the unexpected, and to be very stable, physically and psychologically also. That also takes us to the third takeaway that we learned, is that there is a certain point when things get too demanding for you, and you should always be aware of your health in that moment, because if you're doing like a 10 or 12-hour shift all day, whatever you do, it will be exhausting, and then especially as a volunteer, you have to sort of find the point where it gets too much. And from our experience, it's always better to do a little less, not go to your limit every day, because it's also very important to do a project sustainably. So there's no use of anyone becoming sick after a few days and then not being able to work at all anymore. So it's better to work a little less and then be there for the full time, you know. That one example I can give you is that even though the IHA asked us to keep our phones switched on during nighttime, we always had the day shifts, but they always wanted to keep the phones on during nighttime for anything that could happen unexpectedly. But we said, well, we can't do this. We cannot guarantee for us to come. So we just switched them off. We set a limit there to be able to relax a little bit in between. Fourth thing I want to share with you is that it's great to set up goals that you have. Like to ask yourself in the team, what do we want to achieve with this project? What is our goal, and where are we going with this? And then trying to stick to those goals. This is also linked to expectations that people will bring to you whenever you're doing an action project. As I said, there are so many stakeholders involved, and everyone has their own goals and their own expectations, and you really have to see and try to focus yourself on the things that you have planned personally. One example here is that after, I think, 8 or 9 days at Slavonski Brod at the military camp we were, because there were less refugees coming and we didn't see the use of our team there, we decided to leave and go to another camp and try to help there. And then the IHA said, well, you can't do this. You've dedicated yourself over the time here. And then we replied, well, we are here to help people, and if there's no one there, then there's no use of us just staying and sitting around. Yeah. Fifth thing, I'm gonna speed up a little bit concerning the time. We called this the Project Pi. It's important, as I would say, to remember that preparation, implementation, and evaluation of the project are all equal parts that function together. Okay, so maybe you will think that the most important part is just being there and doing whatever you have planned, but it's also very important to reflect upon things within the team, also to share your stories with others. So maybe you can motivate others or let people know what the issues are, that you sort of have another impact with your project. And also, if you don't, of course, if you don't prepare well, you won't be able to implement whatever you're planning. So remember that all those parts are equally important. Then the next thing would be, and I think this is, yeah, maybe the most important takeaway for us personally, is that communication is key. There is no, maybe it sounds very simple to you, but we've really learned this personally, that you should always be clear about your emotions. You should always reflect on what you've experienced with others. You should just share whatever you're thinking, especially within your team, so that everyone also knows what's happening inside you, because there are so many things coming to you, and you just need to get it out. Otherwise, yeah, there will be a lot of stress, and also people might expect something from you that you have no idea about, because you're not being clear about what's inside you. And also, just to plan everything and to organize stuff, you just have to keep talking. It's always better to talk more in those situations and to talk to. And finally, it's always very, very helpful to use the power of networking and teaming. We experienced with the volunteers that we worked with that when you organize yourself in a bigger team and everyone finds their roles and everyone keeps being motivated, you can achieve much more than you've expected. It's really amazing how we could work together with people we had never met before, and or the system that Janna showed you with the storage. We developed that within our bigger volunteer team. It wasn't there before, and we just experienced that everyone got so much more creative and motivated when they knew there are other people who are supporting them, and everyone also brings in new ideas and knowledge also about different things. So yeah, you can achieve much more than you thought you could do. One example would be that one night when one train was going to leave, we met refugees who got really, really cold, and then we quickly organized a row and supplied them with sleeping bags, and they were so thankful. And yeah, that was one of the best memories of the project, I would say. Okay, so much from our project. Just a few more slides. We now want to open up the bigger picture. So as you may know, there are many great initiatives also happening in Germany. You can see a screenshot that I got from the internet. There are there's much more than you can see on this one, of course. But the problem with those is that many people are just working on their own and not coordinating themselves amongst each other. So the problem here is that each initiative is working towards something great, and maybe they are also achieving something, but they could have done much more if they had sort of communicated with others, or researched what is already there, or whatever they could work in the best. So we feel that there is definitely a lack of coordination of all those great initiatives. And there's also a theory behind these thoughts that we have. It comes from a guy called Gladwell. I forgot about his pre-name. And this is generally known as the rule of 150. I don't know, maybe some of you may know this rule, that it has been shown that societies generally work the best when they don't consist over more than 150 units. Whatever unit is may be defined, but the point here is that it's best to sort of coordinate a number of initiatives and put them into one unit, and then the whole structure can function much better than if there's a few thousand initiatives and everyone is doing something else. As I already said, there is a lack of proper coordination in Germany, at least, with refugee work. But we've collected a few things that we really like. For example, the initiative by the University of Marburg. They are also giving a lot of good scientific courses on the issue. And they have an initiative there where groups of people that are part of university can come together, and they sort of have an office, as I understand it, that supervises all the volunteers and all the people trying to work with the people coming to Germany. So this is a great small network, I would say. Then there is the organization Pro Asyl. I think it's one of the biggest NGOs in Germany being involved in this, and they basically give a lot of political support to the people. So they, they do some campaigning. They work with political parties to develop concepts on how to integrate the people who are coming. And this is labeled as refugee protection. And then one last thing I would also like to show you is not within Germany, but it's a great initiative anyway. 1 second, I'll just open up this link. Here we go. Can you all see the webpage?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So this is an organization in Greece. They are sort of coordinating all the people going there to help refugees. And here you can see, just for one example, if I click here, there are 44 posts of refugee work that is offered, and these posts are very, very up to date, and it's very detailed. You can find here it's an island in Greece. They need experienced teachers, and they need to have experience with work with kids, and it should be long-term and everything. So it's quite detailed, and then you know exactly where to go and what to do and if you're qualified or not. So yeah, this is just one example of a lot. So there you can see how this work can also happen, and it's not in Germany but in Greece. Okay, coming back to this. Okay, so yeah, just to wrap that up quickly, our model of efficient coordination would be that volunteers should be, of course, joined amongst their initiatives, and those should be coordinated by whatever institution, non-governmental or governmental, that sort of brings them together and organizes their help. And maybe at the top there should be one institution that sort of has the overview. We currently don't feel like our government is capable of doing that. But of course, it's also a huge task to organize these things. We know that, and things also take time, of course, but still we need to focus on the things that we can improve there in order to make life for everyone better. With these thoughts in mind, we also at FSU, you may know about this, organized a conference, Us versus the Others. It was called, that was in June in Jena, and there we brought topics to the table like migration, integration, and also how to design a society where everyone is feeling okay, at least where everyone is comfortable, not only the people living here already, but also the people coming here. And yeah, we invited a lot of people who are experienced in those fields, and with this, we wanted sort of to link the participants of the conference with experts to create cooperatives within this issue, to motivate people, yeah, to step forward and do something, whatever that would be. Exactly. Yeah, that's everything from our side. We are happy to answer any questions that the best way we can. It's a huge topic and there's a lot of things we don't know, but we'll do our best. So whatever you have in mind, just speak up, and then, yeah, we'll try to answer.
Thank you very much, Janna and Leo, for giving us the insights into your project. I will now try to unmute everyone. So if you're interested to find out more, if you have any questions or doubts, if you have a comment, then please use the time now. Okay, I have something from Henrika. Maybe Henrika, you want to... Oh, she's not here anymore, right? Okay. Her question was, is it easy to not compromise your goals for the expectations of others, or should you be willing to bend to a certain degree to accommodate some things that come up?
Okay, I'll try to find an answer, and maybe Janna can tell you a little more. So from my point of view, I think sticking to your own expectations is better in that situation. Just because if you don't do that, then you can demotivate yourself and your team because you're not sticking to what you actually are there for, and then no matter what others expect from you, I don't think that you will have enough energy to do something sustainable and maybe meaningful. That might sound a little tough, but being that radical, because I really think that when you are in the field, if you want to put it that way, it's a really challenging task, and you shouldn't compromise on your capabilities there, and yeah, and not go too far, and really stick to what you can do and you want to do.
Yeah,
Janna, I'm not sure if you're talking, but at least we can't hear you.
I just wanted to say that I really can go with Leo what he told, that it's really a hard challenge, that you already you have the courage to go there and to do that, and you already need a lot of courage to do it, and you face a lot of hard topics and things you hardly can manage to live through. So it's really important that you follow your own goals and what you really can do.
Great. Is there anyone else who has a question or a comment on the project? Please feel free to unmute yourself or write in the chat window, just as Eva just did. She says, I'm wondering about Leo's statement that our government is not capable of taking care of this issue. Isn't there a great potential for enhancing our impact in addressing the governmental and the system that is allowing these things to happen, instead of gathering private resources with compensation. If you want, I can send it to you so that you can.
Okay, 1 second.
So she continues, I mean, is it true that the government is not capable?
Okay.
It seems
Yeah,
rather
well,
like a strategy at times.
okay. If I get it right, well, I think that there is the potential within the government to address the issue, at least for within Germany. But maybe there are some people who are not supporting the integration or the way, especially on.
It's now a bit hard for us to understand you, Leo.
Okay. Okay, I'll just repeat. I said that I think that there is the potential for the government to take care of the coordination, but I think that there are a lot of obstacles they are facing, not only within the parties themselves, that maybe some politicians don't want to support the strategy the chancellor is taking, like to welcome refugees, and also within society, it's not easy to overcome those challenges. So I think the government should definitely be part of the solution. So we shouldn't avoid their resources, but there should be, from my point of view, sort of coordination between civil engagement and the governmental work, like more closer work between between those two forces, as I would call it, to make the work more efficient and more effective.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, wow. Thank you. First of all, I'm really wondering about that because I feel that that there's, well, it seems to me that there's almost no civil engagement in the part of demanding from the government that they take more actions, and sometimes it seems like the government also relies a little bit on that kind of civil engagement, which is not compensated and which goes on top of other civil duties. And I would want the government to take more responsibility for that and to feel more in charge of that. And I wonder whether our energies shouldn't focus more on that, on demanding such a change in terms of working on the symptoms at the borders, which is really, really important right now because there are people suffering right now. I understand that, but at the same time, I wonder whether in the long term then does need to be a greater shift as well in our government.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. Yeah, but I think you cannot. How do I put this? There always needs to be engagement and power and yeah, will to change something coming from both sides. So maybe we have the situation that there is civil engagement, and then the government is coming in as well. But at the same time, at least from our perspective, it's not that coordinated, whatever they do. And so we feel that a lot of energy is lost with bureaucracy, with being involved with other issues that are also happening. So the actual work that's being done in this regard is not that effective. Maybe that's what we wanted to say. Yeah. But I don't have a final solution either. If I had, I would just write them and tell them what to do.
Thank you very much for the comment and also for the conversation. Maybe is there another question or something else you would like to comment in general? Anyone else who wants to know more about the project or has another comment or sees it a bit differently or wants to relate it to her or his own personal context? If this is not the case, then I would wrap up the conversation and the session. And I invite you to also contact Janna and Leo through their email addresses. I guess each of you has the email address of Leo. If you not, you can look it up at the MF directory on our website. And you can always you can always ask further questions if you have them or comment on them later. So with this, just thank you again, Janna and Leo, for this wonderful presentation and also for your time, and each of you who participated in this Melton Share. And yeah, please say goodbye with a big thank you to Janna and Leo, and to close this call.
Thank you, Janna, Leo. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Really
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes.
Okay.